guys, it's Holly here at Faces. Welcome back to the Face It podcast. Today I'm here with the lovely Beth from Drew Aesthetics. Beth, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today.
Hi, Holly. Thank you for having me. I've got a little bit of imposter syndrome going on, but it's okay.
You know what? There's so many people who come on my podcast and they're like terrified, but then you'll feel amazing afterwards. And, you know, I think it's good to step out of your comfort zone. Plus, you have an amazing clinic.
Definitely.
Like, your clinic literally looks insane. Like, the lights, just
Thank
have light.
you.
Like, oh my gosh, it's beautiful. So nice. And we'll talk a bit more about that, of course. So let's just start off by talking a bit about how you got into the industry, how Drew Aesthetics came about, and how you built your business to where it is today. Do you want to just give us a bit of insight into that?
Yeah, so I'm a practicing midwife as well, now part-time. And when I was pregnant with my second son, who's now 14 months old, I just kind of felt like I needed to change things up a little bit, and I wanted to give my family more, so like more of my time, more financial freedom, and just to not be that tired mum that's always recovering from night shifts and doing shift work and things like that. So I started doing a bit of research, and I'd heard about aesthetics before, and I knew that a lot of medical professionals go into that.
Yeah.
So did my research and thought, actually, yeah, that looks fun. So I booked my training, and then I did that when my youngest was 3 months old, so just after he was born. And then I just went straight for it, really, because I just thought, you know, I've got this time now before I go back from maternity leave. Well, some time when you've got a baby. To, you know, build this business. And my goal was that by the time I go back to work, I'd be able to reduce my hours, go back part-time. And yeah, so my aim was really to have about 2 clients a week by the time I went back. And yeah, I smashed that within the first couple of months.
Oh, amazing.
And yeah, I managed to actually go back on my reduced hours, just doing 1 shift a week now. And yeah, averaging about 16 clients a week at the minute, I think. So it's just, yeah, gone.
Incredible. No, I absolutely love that. I think there's so many people out there, particularly women, who, you know, things change when you have children. Not that I've got any myself, but, you know, priorities change, like you say, and it's kind of, you know, chance to sit back and think, you know, is this sort of the life that I want to have now that I have children? So I think aesthetics, you know, whether you are a medical professional or not, is often that turning point when people decide to, you know, make a change and go into something different. With regards to your clients then, so obviously things moved a lot quicker than you envisaged, which is amazing. How did you find sort of building a client base then? So what worked for you in that sense? Because I know that's something that a lot of practitioners really struggle with when they first start.
Yeah, and I think it's not easy. It's really not easy. And my biggest tip really is that they're not going to come to you. They're not just going to suddenly find you. You've got to put yourself out there and sort of say, hi, I'm here.
Yeah, exactly.
And get their attention, you know, even though it can be quite nerve-wracking at times. But so I really have just used social media as my main form of free advertising, really, and just followed lots of people in my area, got an idea of who my ideal client is, where they might hang out, followed those places, followed the people that followed those places. And yeah, just consistency, really, making the content, sending messages to people with offers. And then I think slowly word of mouth gets round and recommendations have come through now, which is really lovely. But yeah, I'd say consistency and just keep putting yourself out there and don't worry about it. Just keep going.
Yeah, that's it. You've just got to do what you've got to do, don't you? And I think a lot of people, when it comes to social media, it's like this big monster and it's like, oh my God, like, how do I even do this? But I think you've just got to be authentic to yourself, don't you? And that's a really good idea, actually. And no one's ever said this about following places in your local area. Like, by that, do you mean like restaurants and like gyms and that kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. And like, you've got to think about who your ideal client is. So what age range are they? Gender, you know, is it gender specific? It might not be, but you know, where are these type of people going to hang out?
Yeah.
Is there a local bar to you that is quite young and trendy?
Yeah.
So it's just thinking outside the box a little bit, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So with regards to your client base then, would you say you have attracted that ideal client base that you sort of initially went out to look for?
Yeah, I'd say so. And I think it's funny with aesthetics, isn't it? Because the age range is huge. So, you know, I think the youngest girl that I've seen is 20, and then the eldest is 72. So, you know, that's a huge age range. And not all women as well. You know, I have seen a few men, so it's not just for women. So yeah, I'd say that pretty much my ideal clients, really.
Amazing. And do you find that they come in for sort of different things depending on their gender and age? You know, are you finding there's specific trends within the different demographics?
Yeah, definitely. So I think the younger demographic want their lips done.
Yeah.
They're thinking about preventative Botox, um, just things to enhance their natural appearance, really. Whereas I think the older demographic are looking for skin rejuvenation,
Yeah.
cheek filler to give them that, you know, the restoration back in their face. I think with Botox, it's very much, it's a wide range again, because people want it preventatively, and then people want it to treat the lines as well. So
Yeah.
that's quite a big one. But yeah, I'd say it's a bit of a mixed bag, really.
Amazing. I think that's nice that you know, having a mixed client base, because it's like gives you more time to actually showcase your skills as well. You know, if you're treating the same age group and doing the same treatments day in, day out, you know, if you were to then after a few months get maybe like an older client who has different goals, it might be a little bit more like daunting if you're not used to it. But I think it's good to have that sort of free flowing client base, and you're always able to do different treatments depending on what they're wanting as well. With regards to the male side of things, so you mentioned that you've got a few male clients. I have this conversation quite often with people within the industry, because obviously men are becoming a lot more aware of aesthetics and a lot more interested in aesthetics. But I think sometimes it's hard to know where, for say somebody who's really masculine, you know, it's hard to know where to go, because they don't want to necessarily go to like a clinic which is like pink and flowery and, you know, Russian lips everywhere. So how have you sort of managed to get those male clients through? Because I think there's a lot of practitioners out there who are kind of like, I really want to market towards men. You know, men is 50% of the population. You know, you're missing out essentially on clients, but it's kind of knowing how to do that, and you know, how to get those male clients through the door, because a lot of the time it's, you know, that trust as well. It's not only them maybe being put off by the certain branding or colors and things like that, but it's them kind of feeling, are they sort of welcome in that clinic?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
are they recommendations from your female clients and your male clients?
Yeah. So they're mostly recommendations from female clients to the male clients, but I also make sure on my social media I include posts. So like if I'm talking about chin filler or jaw filler, that I do say that, you know, it can be for feminization or masculinization. It doesn't have to just be a one look, because obviously there's different techniques that you use to create different looks. I mean, a male chin is much wider, and a female chin is much pointier. So there's things like that that you would have to do differently depending on what the client wants. So it's just sort of advertising that and letting people know that you do offer that, and that, yeah, like you said, that they're welcome.
Yeah, and I think once you get them in, you know, you're building that trust, and then you can talk about other treatments as well with them, and, you know, get their friends down to come in for their anti-wrinkle or whatever it may be. No, that's really helpful.
Yeah.
Like you say, just making your posts or your social media more appealing in a sense of actually mentioning men, I think is a really big thing. You know, making it so it's, you know, we can achieve this look on a female, this look, you know, on a man, for example, and just showing that the treatments are very much versatile. I think that's really important. With regards to treatments that you currently don't offer then, is there anything that you're looking to get trained in, or that you've recently trained in, which you're going to be adding to your treatment list?
So I've recently trained in LED light therapy. So that's sort of going down the skin rejuvenation avenue. I do offer skin boosters already, and I absolutely love them. So that kind of ignited my passion for skincare a little bit. So I'm going down that avenue a little bit more, and also non-surgical rhinoplasty. Because I just love the, you know, the balancing and the harmonization of the profile and things like that. And I find that very satisfying as a practitioner, but also really rewarding for the client as well, for the practitioner, but, you know, for the client as well. So I already do lips and chin and cheek. So I think the non-surgical rhinoplasty is just that next level, just to add to that skill set.
Yeah, definitely. It's certainly up there with tear trough, you know, more of the advanced treatments. And I think, you know, once you get there and you can offer treatments like that, like you say, you can focus more on the profile balancing side of things. You know, your clients aren't going to be limited. You know, you can actually give someone a full consultation, knowing that you can essentially offer them whatever you think that they may need or what they're looking for.
I was just going to say that I think the temptation with aesthetics is to just train in everything, because it all becomes so interesting to you, and you think, oh, I'd love to do that, and I'd love to do that. But like you say, I think being able to offer things as a package is much more ideal for your client, because I had a lady come in the other day who was an older lady, and she just wanted a rejuvenation. She didn't know what she could have. She didn't know what she needed. She just wanted something. So we did a full consultation.
Yeah, just come in and leave looking younger or
brighter. Wave the magic wand. So yeah, we did a full consultation, and she ended up having anti-wrinkle injections, marionette filler, cheek filler, and skin boosters. And on her review a couple of weeks later, she walked in a different person. And I don't mean just physically, because it's not just about that, but her energy and her confidence. And yeah, it was just such like a heartwarming moment to feel like, yeah, you've actually really changed that person inside, not just outside. So yeah, I love that part of it.
Yeah, do you know what? I always say aesthetics and beauty and aesthetics are such a rewarding industry to work in for that reason, because it's so much more than just your appearance, isn't it? You know, particularly with treatments like non-surgical rhinoplasty, you know, the nose is an area which a lot of people have insecurity with. And I think when I speak to practitioners who offer that treatment, it's just one of them where, you know, it can just absolutely change your client's life. And I think it's so great that these treatments are so accessible as well. You know, you don't have to go get a nose job or a facelift. You know, you can get these treatments which are so accessible and obviously a lot cheaper as well. But I think
a lot less low risk.
Yeah, exactly. I think if I was a practitioner, that would be my favorite part of the job, like seeing that confidence shine through. Or, you know, you can't have a bad day at work when you're making people happy, can you? Surely.
No. And I think you kind of become a bit of a counselor to people as well, because, you know, I often get people come in and they've been going through a really hard time for various reasons, and you know, they offload that to you and you build that trust with them quite quickly. So yeah, they kind of spill a lot to you and the reasons why they want the treatment, and you're wearing a lot of hats
Yeah,
when you're an aesthetics
absolutely. It's
practitioner.
so much more than just the treatment. You know, you have to become
Yeah,
an accountant, you have to you have to become
yeah,
a counselor, all these different things. And you know, I always say this. I think my aesthetics practitioner probably knows more about me than my like friends and family do. Because I don't know what it
yeah,
is. It's like I don't know what it is, but you just feel like you can offload, like you say. And with a
yeah,
clinic like that as well, you've clearly built a really lovely safe space as well. And I think that's so important, because I think a lot of
yeah,
practitioners, because you're doing the job day in, day out, you know, you're treating lots of different people. It's really important to remember that that client, or each of your clients, they look forward to that appointment. You know, it might be the highlight of their month or the highlight of their week, knowing that they can just come in, lay on the couch, offload, have a cup of tea.
yeah,
You know, it's a whole experience, isn't it? It's not just, oh, I'm going to go get my Botox done, or I'm going to go get my lip filler.
yeah.
It's that.
And you know, I think the my ability to do this had to do with that has probably stemmed from midwifery, because
Yeah,
in that profession you need to be able to build trusting relationships really quickly with people.
yeah, of course.
um, so I'm experienced in doing that, and I think as when you're looking after people having babies, you're really aware of the environment that you're creating for them. And that was one thing that I really wanted to replicate here, was that people walked in and they felt the energy and they felt calm and they felt safe. So I think I've done that. So that's
I
something I'm
feel
proud of.
calm just like looking at the clinic, and I'm not even there.
Oh,
Like, you know
good.
what? It's the like neutral tones as well, like you mentioned. You know, first of all, that's not kind of gender specific or like, you know, age specific. You know, it's just neutral, calming. Yeah. Look, I absolutely love it. And I think, like you say, I think with regards to your background in midwifery, it must be really nice as well that you're taking certain things from your background in midwifery and implementing it into
Yeah.
your own business. Do you think that you will ever, you know, find that you've got to make that decision whether you do your aesthetics full time just because it's building so quickly, or is that something that you're maybe thinking about?
Yeah, it's definitely in the forefront of my mind.
Yeah.
Um, and it's conversations that I've been having with my husband recently, actually. So yeah, maybe in the near future we'll see, but it's not something I don't want to give up my registration, because I've worked really hard
Yeah.
to, you know, become a midwife, and I do love the job. I do. It's just we are really undervalued, overworked, underpaid. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think you've got to start putting yourself first, and that's something that I'm learning. So I think I might take a step back, but it won't be, you know, I won't hang up my uniform forever. They
Yeah,
can't keep me away.
and that's the thing, and the beauty of being a medical professional is, you know, you can go back to it, and
Yeah,
you can do the odd shifts if you want to, that kind of thing.
yeah,
But I think I suppose there does become a time in your business, like you say, whether it be for personal reasons or just genuinely because you've got a lot of clients, where you do have to
yeah,
have those sorts as well. But that's exciting that it's potentially an option sometime soon for you, and then you can
yes.
absolutely put everything into your business, which is great. Just touching on the Faces app then, Beth. So obviously you've used Faces for quite some time, so thank you. You're very much a loyal Faces user. How would you say Faces has helped with the general runnings of your business and that kind of thing? Like, what features do you like to use as well?
So I think Faces is kind of like the backbone of the business, really. And I'm quite lucky that I can't remember whether I was recommended it when I did my training or I just came across it quite quickly, but I've had it from the beginning, really, of starting my business, and it's helped massively. It's taken the pressure off, because all of the consent forms are there for you. All of the aftercare is there for you if you want it. And then even things like prescriptions, pharmacy, insurance, it's all there for you if you need it. And yeah, I just think it's fab, and it's free. It's
I know.
free.
Even sometimes I'm like, why is this app free? It's got so much. But the thing is, we want it to be accessible. We know that when you qualify, the last thing you then want to do is have to pay £100 a month for a software that you don't even know how it works.
Yeah.
You know, we want people to use it. You know, the reason why it was built was because Ash, one of the co-founders, is a nurse practitioner, and he was like, I can't deal with all this paperwork. Like, I need everything in one place. So it started off as consent forms. We've built it. Further than that, obviously, we have the pharmacy now, we have finance, we have booking platform, so many other things. And we're very much growing with you guys as practitioners. You know, where the development of the app is led by what you need and what you want. So yeah, we're constantly developing. As you'll know, you've probably had to update your app a million different times. But no, that's...
Do you know, I was actually joking with one of my clients the other day because there was an update recently, and when I logged back on, it had changed slightly.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh God, why do people keep changing things? Just leave it how it is. But actually, the updates are really good.
Yeah, I know everyone kind of freaks out when it just looks slightly different, but I much prefer it. I think it's a lot more crisp and like modern. I like it. But no, I'm really pleased that obviously it's working for you, and you know, has such a big positive impact on the running of your business as well, which is great. Just moving on to a more sort of serious topic then, Beth. So obviously we've had the traffic light system released from the government regarding regulation and what we potentially could expect. What are your personal views on regulation in general and what's been announced with the green, amber and red?
Yeah, so I think the regulation is really needed. And I think the green, amber and red system, on the surface, it looks good in terms of patient safety. And I think that's the number one priority, isn't it, really? But I don't know how practical it is, because they haven't really said, you know, with these treatments that need medical oversight, is what does that entail, really? We need more specifics. I try to sort of stay away from the whole medic, non-medic thing, because I think, you know, there's so many talented and knowledgeable non-medics and medics. So that argument really isn't a thing for me. But what I will say, and I can only talk from a medic's point of view, is that to maintain your registration as a healthcare professional, you have to do mandatory training, and some of that is annually, some of that's every 2 years, every 3 years. Most of it is annually, and you have to complete that training to be able to practice. And some of that training might be like anaphylaxis or basic life support. And although, you know, things like anaphylaxis in aesthetics is a low risk, it is a risk. And, you know, something like that can lead to needing basic life support. So I think the fact that we do that training every year means that we feel confident and competent to deal with those situations should they arise. And I think with aesthetics, I think there's a lot of complications trained practitioners, which is fab, because that means they're taking accountability for their practice. But you know, what I wonder is when was that? How long ago was that? Because, you know, if that training was 5 years ago, would you feel competent to deal with a complication now? So I think the traffic light system is good, but I think there needs to be something else in terms of making sure people are keeping up with, you know, evidence-based practice and the safest way to practice, really.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, actually, Beth. Because like you say, you know, there are many practitioners who take, well, I'd hope everyone, but I know potentially not everyone takes complications or the potential complications seriously enough. But it is like when it comes down to basic life support, anaphylaxis, first aid, those types of things. I think that there's a big kind of focus on vascular occlusions and that kind of thing, obviously within aesthetics for obvious reasons, but it's everything else aside from that, you know, should practitioners be first aid trained? And obviously to be first aid trained, you have to renew that every year, don't you? As well, like you say. So I think that's a really good point to make. Definitely, because there's no time limit on these trainings. Well, there's no rules in general, but yeah, I think that would be not only helpful for the client to make them feel safer and be safer, but it would also be really helpful for practitioners to then, like you say, feel confident in case a complication arise. Definitely.
And that's the thing as well. It's like, I think with aesthetics, like you said, vascular occlusion is a hot topic. But when you actually break down an emergency like a VO, it's very easily resolvable. There is a solution to it. And I think there's a lot of fear around vascular occlusion. And I think perhaps what regular training would provide is getting rid of that fear. Because I think as a healthcare professional, when an emergency happens, your first instinct, it's not usually fear, because you're acting with all of your knowledge to just sort it out.
Yeah.
So I think the more that you come across complications, or the more training you do, the less scared of you're going to, less scared you're going to be of the complications arising.
Yeah, that's such a good point to make as well. Similar to a conversation I had with someone yesterday, we're talking about tear trough filler, and they were saying something I really want to train in, but I'm just a little bit scared. And, I said, how many people have really gone blind from tear trough filler? Because I've never seen an article to say someone's actually gone blind. They probably have, but I don't know about anyone who's actually gone blind. And it's like this fear element, isn't it? It's like, oh my God, tear trough and non-surgical rhinoplasty, so dangerous, you can make someone blind. But has this even happened? And it's, of course, there are high risk treatments, it'd be silly to not think so, but can't we just treat them like every other treatment, that yes, complications can arise, but so can they in lip filler or cheek filler or anything else. So it's this kind of like fear factor, isn't it? And I think social media has certainly created that. So it's one of them. But I think you made a really good point in terms of the training aspect in general. It needs to be standardized, needs to be renewed based on trends, based on, obviously that's why you have to redo your training, isn't it? Just to keep up to date in case something else is brought in, or things are changed. So I completely agree with you on that one. Just to finish on a more positive note, Beth, obviously your business is in a really exciting space right now, with lots of potential things coming, and your client base is continuing to grow. Just when you sort of reflect on your career so far within aesthetics, is there a specific sort of moment that you can think of where you think, do you know what, I'm so proud of that, or any specific sort of situation which has happened where you can reflect on and think, I really love what I do here?
Yeah, I think there's two things really. From a personal perspective, it was completing the renovation of the clinic, and actually just digging deep and getting it done. And the feeling after that, I was very proud of it. And then I think from a professional point of view, I had a young girl come to me for lip filler, and it was her first time having lip filler. And she had a particularly flat top lip that she was really self-conscious about, which is quite a common thing. But yeah, she was really nervous and worried about the treatment, but really, really wanted it. So we spent quite a long time just sort of with her consultation, talking her through everything. Eventually got onto her lips, did her lips. And when she looked in the mirror, she actually cried and gave me a hug. Oh,
Oh,
I feel a bit
I've got
emotional. Yeah,
oh,
she cried and gave me a hug and said thank you so much. I love them. And she left, and I just remember closing the door and being like, that
oh.
was so lovely.
I've got goosebumps like listening to that. That is just so, yeah, like I say, you can't have a bad day at work when you're changing someone's life like that and making someone feel that tiny bit extra more confident or less insecure about something. Like that's just so rewarding. And the fact that you do that obviously within your role as a midwife, I bet that's again such a rewarding job to work in, because you're helping someone give birth.
It's empowering people as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
empowering them to feel confident about themselves, or that's the best part, I think.
Yeah, amazing. I just love that. It makes me want to do aesthetics because I just feel like
do it.
Oh no,
With best thing you ever did.
I feel like me and faces. I'm faces as far as I think I'll go. But no, I think that's a fantastic story, and yeah, just again so rewarding, and it also shows your love for the industry as well and for what you do. As well, the fact that you can look back on those moments and be like, yeah, just so nice. But Beth, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I've absolutely loved speaking with you. Your clinic is beautiful. I'm really pleased that everything's going really well, and we should certainly resume this in 6 months' time to see where you're up to, because it's like you've got lots of exciting things upcoming, which is amazing.
Thank you. It's been great to talk to you, and hopefully things will get better and better. So
yeah,
nice to speak to you again.
It absolutely will. I'll speak to you soon, lovely.
Thanks, Holly. Bye.